am, yes, absolutely.
Well, I should hand over to you then.
Perfect.
Off you go.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Mark mentioned, I'm here today to talk to you about salary sacrifice. So, as a caveat, we are ZPN's and Super Hub's benefit provider for salary sacrifice, as well as EON as well, who I believe have now left the building. But yes, we specialise in ensuring people can have access to any EV in the market. Okay, how do we do that? So I'm not sure if people here or how much you know about salary sacrifice, but apologies if this is all common knowledge to you. But essentially, what we're trying to achieve here is, and I know James hates the word, kind of 360 sustainability ring, but as an employee benefit, right? We're not a car dealership. We're not here just to sell you cheap cars. The end goal is taking or buying an electric car at the moment is super expensive. This is the cheapest way to get you and your team, if you're a business owner, into an EV, right? The great thing here is we can save you anywhere between 30 and 60% on a vehicle. As long as it's in the UK, it's an EV, we can get it. So no full access to any of those cars in this market. The added benefit for you as an employee is the fact that everything is rolled into one price, right? So your car, your insurance, your service, maintenance, tyres, everything into one price. Today, we probably get a lease, looks great, 350 quid. You probably have to pay 4 months up front. There's no deposits here either. So the price we give you is inclusive of everything. The only thing you need to select is a home charger, okay? And that's because you might already have one, you can't put one in, your home doesn't allow it. Or, of course, in some cases like myself, I get free work charging, so I don't need one. So it's great. I'll take full advantage of that. Thank you very much. We are the only company in the UK to also offer flexible salary sacrifice. So essentially what this means is traditional SALSAC will mean you can get a new car with 2, 3 or 4 year terms. You can spec that car out to your heart's desire. Salary sacrifice flexible subscriptions have a minimum HMRC ruling commitment of 12 months. Now, like the Tesla Model Y we came in today, that's one of our fleet. We have about 250 cars. You can select those vehicles. We spec them out, so there's not a choice in terms of what you'd like it to do, or like it to be, color, etc. However, the key thing here is flexibility. You can take it just for a minimum of 12. Now, we tend to find people who have never driven electric, not sure about it yet, don't want to commit. That's a great choice for you. Your organization can digest that any way you feel. Subscriptions, brand new, completely up to you, okay? The key one for us is the protection cover. This is why I can't stress enough, we are an employee benefit first. We protect you in the event that your circumstances within your business change. Now, that could be you're leaving, you're made redundant, you're dismissed. Any of those factors happen, we've got you covered. So the liability for a business is if the car was delivered today and you as an employee were made redundant or dismissed, your company would have to pay up to 50% of those remaining fees, okay? If it delivered today, redundant or dismissed. After that, car comes back to me, no penalty, right? Perfect. Completely remove yourself and off we go. You can go to your new role. If you leave within 3 months of delivery, you, the employee, have to pay for it, okay? After 3 months, give me the car back, no penalty. So we heavily mitigate that risk for you. Traditional SALSAC will have you in those cars for 2, 3, 4. And you leave, you've got a big bill and your company's not going to help you with it. So we've completely removed, well, I say completely, heavily mitigated. Risk will never be zero, but we safeguard you as much as we can. And then I guess to top it all off, we also can, and currently talking to partners around the home charger, solar panels, battery storage, of course, not at this stage salary sacrificable, but we are looking at how we can make that cheaper for employees to put into their homes. It isn't cheap, so we appreciate that. So we want to try and assist you alongside the car in that regard. And then lastly, heat scheme. So this is interesting. So we partnered with a company over the last couple of months who will do a survey on your home around how green, how sustainable your home is around your heating. And then from that, they can assess, and all free of charge, part of the service, even if you don't take a car, on how you can improve that, right? And everyone's looking to save money, right? And at the end of the day, if we can do that for you as part of this, that completes that sustainability ring we're trying to achieve here, okay? This is just some examples of what you can potentially save in a vehicle. So, as I said, we get any vehicle you want, but I thought Audi being kind of middle ground, I appreciate these aren't super cheap, but just to give you an example, this is on a 6K 48-month lease, 40% tax rate, and of course a 45% tax rate. But I mean, just look at the figures, right? The savings are just mental. Even if you are a lower tax bracket earner, you're still saving around 15K. Okay, so this speaks for itself. The benefit here is completely cost neutral to the business, and you as an employee are getting the best saving you can on an electric car. And as I said, no deposits and everything rolled into one price. So please, I rest assured, I see these prices are quite high. I know psychologically we like to see small payments come out of our bank accounts, but that is everything, right? So you don't even need to think about anything else. So that's why these prices may look higher, but actually in the long term, add everything you're currently doing today, you probably pay more than that, right? So what's in it for the business? Now, as I mentioned, completely cost neutral. So the company, cash in, cash out, will always equal net zero, right? There isn't an impact. Today, you might have a company car or a cash allowance. Cash allowances are great, however, you're taxed on them, okay? Cash allowances with salary sacrifice means you get to use the full amount pre-tax. The cost neutral benefit for the company is that if the lease is 1,000, you're paid 5 grand in gross, you're now paid 4, company takes that 1,000 from you, pays us or the leasing business, done. Our savings, our fees come from the NI savings and the VAT on those cars. Okay. And then of course early termination is included. That isn't something we charge extra for. It's fully managed. We take care of everything for the company. So a complete white glove service. That's for the employee pre and post sale, and for all payroll deductions, any admin, everything is taken away from the team. The only thing the company need to do essentially is the payroll deductions. But we calculate that all for them. So there's nothing really heavy lifting there need to be done. Now, of course, I've touched upon subscriptions and I've spoken about brand new leasing, but we do also now have access to second-hand cars. So as long as there's some requirements that we need from those second-hand vehicles, i.e. VAT deductible, we can access those stock as well. So for someone who may say, Hiten, I would like a Model Y, but brand new, circa 700, actually take one that's maybe a year and a half old, 15,000 miles potentially, but we can get it to you 150 quid cheaper. Yeah, actually, I'll take that. So we can kind of 360 help with any type of car you want. Of course, it is EV only, and the reason being is, let's be honest, the tax rates are just super low. If you take an ICE car through this scheme, you're paying 37% on benefit in kind. So you're better off just going to do this personally out of your own net salary. So this is for EV specifically because the benefit of the tax is so low at the moment. And the government have kind of said by 2028, I beg your pardon, it will be a maximum of 5%, but we'll calculate all of those deductions for you anyway. We don't know what's going to happen after, but we'll guesstimate, and then when the government give us a number, we can send all those recalculations for you as well, okay? And then for the business, a really good one is that this goes towards ESG Scope 3, right? The hardest to attain for most businesses, making your whole supply chain sustainable. Now, you may have a fleet of 50, 60 cars, but actually that sits on your asset books. It's super expensive. You have to look after all of that. If you converted those to 50 salary sacrifice cars, you still get the benefits of ESG with no liability or that massive bill of looking and service maintaining. 10 employees leave, I've got 10 cars sitting on my forecourt. These cars go back, no problem. You guys can remove that from your business. So this is the added benefit, of course, this being an enviro-friendly benefit as well. And then lastly, how do we kind of roll this scheme out? Now, if you're an employee here today, please connect me with your HR or your directors. These are the people that need to sign off on this. Once that's done, it's as simple as they sign an agreement, we get some credit in place for you, and you can have cars delivered to you as quickly as 7 days, right? Of course, if they're brand new, we're looking at anywhere between 3 and 6 months at the moment for most brands. If you go mental and you really want to spec it out, then of course we're talking quite long. But to give you an idea, I think we had a £130,000 Porsche. I did it in January. It'll be delivered by June. And 4 months ago, we were looking at nearly 12-month waits, right? And this guy's gone mental on the spec. So just to let you know that a lot of manufacturers post the Ukrainian stuff have kind of really sped things up for us. So that's great for us to do. The launch, as I said, taken care of by. So we were here on Monday, launching this for ZPN employees. Superhub will be doing that very soon for them as well. So we'll come down either to your business, depending on obviously how many people are going to attend, versus we can bring cars down, do test drive days, no problem. So there's lots of things we can do to assist to make this a great benefit for you. And then after that, our team takes care of everything. So your business don't need to deal with any of this. I'll have regular contact with HR or anyone looking after the scheme, but that's really just to see how things are going. And we can do any support or marketing that you require. literally, we take care of everything. And it's really, really important because most people, directors or HR, are time poor. You don't have time to be looking after all this stuff. So I'll do it all for you. Any problems, issues, they come to me. They don't need to come to you through Chinese whispers. We'll take care of every single thing. And that's it. Thank you very much for listening.
That's up on the website.
It's up on the website. You can go on the website and actually quote. They are what I call, please stress, indicative quotes. What we will do is then, if you want to continue and go further, I will then what I call a hard quote, of which is based on your salary specifically, all those kinds of information. We take a few more things and then we can give you proper quotes on if that's something you want to do. But yeah, you can head to the website. We've got a new used section as well, albeit it's only Taycans at the moment, but we're extending that to other vehicles as well. Our background, as a caveat, is Porsche. So we're 40 years Porsche. So it made sense for us to go straight back to our namesake. But yes, we, as I said, have access to any used vehicle, as well as any brand new vehicle. Cool. Was there any questions immediately? Okay, it was a great presentation. I answered every single thing. Amazing.
Company size or volume of cars?
So the salesperson will say to me, no, what have you got? No, I'm joking. I say, look, if you are PAYE, this is where it needs to work. We have had directors, and I appreciate directors will pay themselves the bare minimum and then, of course, take dividends. There's nothing against that. You do that for tax purposes. I have had directors flip that, and what I would present to them is say, I'm not a tax advisor. I can not stress that enough. Go and speak to your accountant. However, if you say to me retrospectively, I want this car, I can give you 50K, 60K, 80K, take it to your accountant and then say, this is what I could get versus me buying the car through the business, which is better for me. Realistically though, if you're on PAYE, this is where it comes into its own. As I said, some directors will transition over to that model. Most don't. They'll just buy the car through the business. But yes, this is foremost an employee benefit for your employees. But yeah, if you want to have a discussion around that for you and you are a director, not a problem. The other part of our business is business as well. So we can do just subscription cars on 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whatever you want, that are non-SALSAC. Slightly more expensive, same concept, everything rolled into one price. But that is if you just want a car and you don't want to worry about all the rest of keeping it forever. We also offer that service as well. Cool. Any other questions? I know we had some latecomers, so feel free to grab me if you've missed anything. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, I'll be hanging around for...
What's the availability of the vehicles that you promote?
So, good question. I guess, sorry to sound aloof, but I guess it's how long is a piece of string. But it really depends on, if you go crazy with the spec, we could be anywhere between 3 and 9 months, depending on what you're looking at. I spoke to the Tesla guys earlier, actually, and we've got a few coming, but he said a brand new one could take up to like 4 weeks, right? As long as you're not crazy on the spec. Or you can get maybe used ones in 2. Our cars, if we own the fleet, 7 days. But I would say on average this year so far, our deliveries are based on, I'd say key ones have been Porsche, Audi and Mercedes, probably looking at around 4 months. But if in the event you do have a long wait, we can stick you in one of our own cars temporarily, which can be salary sacrificed as well, which means it removes the element of you having to go and find a temporary car, and then we will just transition you over into your brand new one when it arrives. So we cover you at every step. So we can cut that waiting time and kind of move from the eBay taking forever versus the Amazon next day stuff. Yeah. Cool. Well, if there's no further questions, as I said, I'm around. Please grab me. And yeah, more than happy to answer any more questions for you.